The beat is the heart and soul of any music you hear. The beat is the heart and soul of any music you hear.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, put your hands on the radio. It's time for the
Welcome to the beat. Beat goes Zydeco today. We're here, WPFW radio station, Washington, D.C. We're here, we're going to meet with Texas Fred and learn all there is about Zydeco. He is the Zydeco Cowboy. We're going to get on his trail ride. It's fundraiser time at PFW. Y'all all just sit back. We're going to learn a lot and be entertained. Welcome to the beat. The beat goes Zydeco. Hello, Texas Fred. How you doing? This is the Zydeco Cowboy. I'm here with the Zydeco Cowboy. And really, Fred, what I'd like to know is, tell me a little bit about yourself. What brings you to D.C.? How'd you end up here in D.C.?
Well, came to Washington in 1980 to attend Howard University. Grew up in Texas, a little small town called Prairie View. It's a black college town outside of Houston. And actually grew up, Zydeco was around. My grandparents, my mother's side, were from East Texas, bordering Louisiana. And the music was always around. My grandfather had friends that played music, and a lot of them Creole, spoke a lot of French. My grandfather didn't like folks to speak French because he never would let him and his friends that spoke French come into his house because he needed to understand everything everybody said when they came into his house. He didn't speak French. So he had a tree out in the back of the house, and he made all his buddies stand out up under there. Those that do want to come in the house and speak English, they stood under the tree and spoke French. But the music, I remember Clifton Chanel's music from when I was young, being around.
He was like the big,
Clifton
first.
Well,
national?
he wasn't. Well, he was probably, Clifton Chenier is probably responsible for its popularity. What Clifton Chenier did was played a lot of music of his contemporaries. Like his contemporaries at the time were Ray Charles, Fats Domino, and different people. And so he would cover tunes that Fats Domino would do, or Ray Charles would do, and different people. But he would play the accordion, and he would kind of adapt it to a Zydeco style, playing R&B music, playing soul music. But he really loved the blues. Matter of fact, I interviewed his son, C.J. Chenier, and he said that he remembers from young that his daddy was a blues man. Loved the blues, and played the blues all the time. And I can hear it in his music. When I play Clifton Chanel's music, when he plays the blues, he really goes to a different place. You can really tell he's playing from his soul, you know. It's hard to fake playing the blues. If the blues ain't in you, you can't really play it. You know, people will know that the blues is not in you if you're playing with the blues and you're really not a blues man. But Clifton was a blues man. So he played Montreux. He played a lot of festivals all over the world. So he helped to spread this accordion music from Southwest Louisiana and took it all around the world. So he's kind of credited with, they call him the king of Zydeco. And that's kind of a debatable term for some people from Southwest Louisiana. There are other people, Rockin' Doopsie. A lot of people heard of Rockin' Doopsie. He claims to have been the king of Zydeco. If it was me, my deal is Clifton. I just think that Clifton took the music places that a lot of people before him hadn't done. Now I've talked to friends of mine who are from Louisiana, who are from the culture, and they said that really they considered him to be. He played rock and roll because he played Little Richard and so forth. But just like I tell people now, it's like with any other music. People in any genre of music play the music of their time. At the time that Clifton Chenier was playing this music, his contemporaries, as I said earlier, were Fats Domino and Little Richard and Ray Charles and all of these people. Well, it's no different than now. A lot of the people that's playing music now, a lot of them are playing a very similar sounding music. Um, Zydeco is not exempt from that. And so I think for that reason, the Clifton, I just really think that, and he took that music on the road and stayed on the road. And he influenced so many people like Buckwheat Zydeco and other people to play this music. Mm-hmm.
Can you just give me a little prehistory of it? What is that? What group of people brought
Zydeco music?
Yeah, brought Zydeco music to the world.
Okay. Let me go back a little bit. Initially, it wasn't called Zydeco. It was some music that they called Jure, Jure, with an accent on the E. They were field songs, work songs, just like music that was a forerunner for the blues, where it was people who were working in the fields, chopping cotton, or Louisiana digging potatoes or sweet potatoes or sugar cane or what have you, and they were singing these work songs. Then it became, when they started playing accordion, they would play house parties just like they played with the blues or played R&B. They played house parties and whatnot, and they called it la-la music, party music. It was party music. People would do what we call rent parties, and they would go to people's houses and they would go into people's houses and they would be sponsoring a party, take all the furniture out of the house, and they'd hire a band, what have you, to come in and play music. And people would, like a rent party, people would pay to come to the party and they paid for the food and so forth and so on. But the accordion player was the center, That's that's your main instrument in Zydeco music is the accordion instrument. Now, one of the first musicians that was that recorded either uh, they called it Lala music or traditional Creole music was Amadé Ardoin, Ardoin, and a couple of his ancestors, a couple of his people from his family are still some of the most popular in that music from Southwest Louisiana, from Lake Charles. But he was and the interesting, he sang in French. He was a small Creole man, and he sang in French. But he was a lot of the Creoles as well as the Cajun people liked Amadé. My reading says that he sang with a lot of soul. And in listening to his music, he liked the blues too. Um, so he was singing the blues Louisiana's right next to Mississippi. So they playing the blues in Mississippi. They were playing the blues in Louisiana, and playing the Zydeco. He was singing French and he was playing accordion. But if you listen to the music, you know immediately that he's singing the blues. So Amadé Ardoin is thought to be clear forerunner for the development of the music that we now call Zydeco. Now, the term Zydeco supposedly was coined by Clifton Chenier, actually. Um, it's called snap bean music. The word for a snap bean in French is les haricots. And so if you say it over and over again, it kind of got bastardized, I should say. And it became Zydeco. That's where it sounded when people said it. Instead of saying les haricots, a snap bean, it became Zydeco. Um, and it took on a whole lot of different meanings because it's a snappy music. It was music that made people want to dance and move their feet. It was an upbeat music. But first and foremost, it was a dance music. It was a happy music. Even though in Zydeco they play waltzes too, and as I say, like Clifton and Amadé Ardoin, they play the blues too. But mostly Zydeco was known to be and upbeat music, a happy music, dance music, and for the whole family. People would go take their whole family, from the little kids, because it was part of that culture of the black Creoles from Southwest Louisiana. And I need to make that distinct too. A lot of people, when they think about Zydeco, immediately people think about New Orleans because New Orleans is the biggest city in Louisiana. Mm-hmm. It's not from New Orleans. It's from Southwest Louisiana. It's from the areas from west of Baton Rouge. Mm-hmm. From there on into Southeast Texas. That's where it's rural. It's agrarian. It's country music. Mm-hmm. And that's where the music evolved. It evolved in the country. It didn't evolve. It didn't. They play it now in New Orleans for the tourists and such. But most of your musicians that play Zydeco music are from Southwest Louisiana, places like Opelousas, Breaux Bridge, Lake Charles, Lafayette, Eunice, Jennings, little country places. That's where they play this music. Now it's time to do the Zydeco. True. Know you heard us on the radio. True. Now it's time to do the Zydeco. True. I know you heard us on the radio. True. Now it's time to do the Zydeco. True. I know you heard us on the radio. True. Now it's time to do the Zydeco. It's on the way out. And you know it's all the way live. It's all the way live. CT, it's all the way live. Zydeco. 202-588-9739. Come on, baby, get on the trail right here. I know you heard us on the radio. True. Now it's time to do the Zydeco. True. I know you heard us on the radio. True.
The beat is the heart and soul of any music you hear. The beat is the heart and soul of any music you hear.